there's all kinds of various, there's in my book, I have about 5 different strategies that you can use. And really, I really look and say the first thing that you need to do, if and this is for anyone, is you need to look at your credit card and your bank accounts, and you look at the things that you're spending on a monthly basis. And if it's a couple, they need to look at what they're spending, because you'd be amazed at the number of people that have at least 2 or 3 of the same streaming subscriptions. So each of them, so it's like some of these things you can just put together and just have one. And if you just have one, you can generate a fair amount of savings. And the same thing with your home insurance, your auto, all these things. If you can benefit from being a couple, and a lot of people just don't take advantage of that. And so what I really try to preach is looking through on a consistent basis your overall spending and adjusting as you can, reallocating it to savings, and then also at the same time looking at debt and making, if you have debt, you want to prioritize it and understand, what is, we'll say, good debt and what is bad debt. And that's really a term that I don't think all debt is bad. If you're starting a business, if you're getting a home, and even in certain situations where you need to get a vehicle, you just can't come out of pocket out of college, and expect to buy a vehicle. It's the things like credit cards, high interest credit cards, and a lot of other pieces that you accumulate, and in some cases even the student loans, where there's no return on that money.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned savings. Now, the thing is, lots of people put money into the bank and they hope that that grows based on whatever percentage that bank gives them. However, a lot of cases is that savings interest is less than what inflation is. So they're
Yeah.
actually losing money with it sitting in their savings account.
Yeah, exactly. And really, what you want to do is you want to target a certain, we would call it a rainy day fund or an emergency fund, and it's usually going to be 3 to 6 months of your expenses. And you're going to want to put that away. And at least 2 or 3 of that, you want to keep a month liquid in, say, an operating account or what we call like a checking account. The other 2 or 3 months, you want to put into a high interest savings account. And you can go to Bankrate. There's Nerd Wallet. There's a bunch of different websites, but what you want to try to do is get as much interest on that money and still keep it liquid. With money above that, that's when you want to start looking and saying, well, do I need to pay down some debt? Do I need to put money aside for, an upcoming wedding or something like that, where it's a shorter term savings goal? And then with anything above that, you really need to look and say, well, am I matching? You always want to make sure you're matching your employer contributions. If you're lucky enough where your employer gives you a match on the money you put in, you want to make sure you're taking advantage of that. And then above that, you just want to make sure that you're saving in a smart fashion.
Mhm. At what point should people start considering putting money into, let's say, stocks and real estate or whatever it is that they are looking to, or crypto, whatever it is?
Yeah, and that's really the thing. I mean, it's really based upon what your risk tolerance is and what your specific circumstances are and your situation. What could be good for, and it's not, sometimes, people used to look back and say, well, if you're coming up to retirement, you probably shouldn't have money in, super growth stocks, grow things that move up and down like a roller coaster. That's not always the case. Really it is based upon the individual and what their risk tolerance is. And that really is something that's really personal to them. It's hard to make really generalizations. It's more of an issue of, we talk about diversification, which doesn't always help, but really, it goes back to the old eggs in the basket analogy. If you have too much in one thing, it's going to usually end up biting you. So it's always a good concept or good thought process to spread out your savings and your investments.